All right, we live?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I gotta go over here to the live feed.
I'm knocking out a thumbnail real quick.
So Nate, I just realized I'm going back through all of my content. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. And I'm putting new thumbnails. I'm putting
Jamison's been Jamison's been beating my ass for not doing that, man.
Well, so here's the deal. This is what I realized. I got a bunch of 50,000 view videos that should be million view videos, right? Like I got a 3-hour special with the third Ranger bat dude, and everybody is like, this is the best video in the world. Like, but
and those old ones too, when your channel's smaller, you're just gonna have smaller reach. It's just different. Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that. Jameson's been beating me up for that for a long fucking time. It's hard, man. It's time. You know what I mean? It's like time to go back through and do it all. I need to do it though.
I'm about to put my kids on it. So I'm about to get them.
Oh, that's smart, dude.
I got thumbnails. They can do thumbnails.
My wife's she's gonna be quitting her job and going full time into the management for me. I'll put her on that, man. Right. Hell yeah, dude. We're going full bore. As soon as I graduate, one more term. We're going 20% social media to 120% social media.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, folks, we're on the War Room right now. We a little short-handed. It's me. It's Nate. We got Ben Pappas sitting in the waiting room. We're waiting on Jay to get home. Aaron's coming back from date night. We're going to rock it out. So right now it's me and Nate. I know what the topics are for today. We're going to try to save those until Aaron gets on here and starts dropping them. I know there's a couple things that came out today. The one I saw was the California crazy. You can't defend yourself. They expect you to run first.
Yeah.
You know, but
so
hey,
that'll be an interesting one to talk about because it's not that far off of what most laws already are, unless you're in a stand your ground state explicitly, right? But in California and Oregon, like, in expectations to avoid and escape are always mandatory before you can use lethal force. Now, what California is doing is like way over the top, right? Like if you didn't try to run away first before you defend that's getting into craziness. But it's like the needle just keeps getting pushed like this, right? And then there's a little bit of pushback, but not as far. It's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, not 1 step forward, 2 steps back. With this legislation, it's 2 steps forward and anti-gun, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, anti-gun, 1 steps back. So I think that's what we're just seeing more of that, man.
I mean, the good thing is, Nate, when they break it fully, it's going to be awesome because they're going to be in complete anarchy, right? Like they're raising a generation right now on how to steal. They literally are raising a generation. Dude. You can't get arrested unless it's more than $950,000. When I was in high school, if that was the law, I would be pulling up in my pickup truck into the store, driving down aisles, and making sure everything.
And that's what people are doing, dude.
Yep.
That's what's so crazy about it.
Yep.
Did I tell you about the ride along I was on with my buddy? Literally, we were in an Albertsons. Do you guys have Albertsons? It's like a Safeway or whatever.
I'm from Washington State, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You're from out here.
$1 piece of bread with $1.
Yeah. Oh, the French bread.
Woo,
the French bread. Yeah,
absolutely.
But so anyway, we're in the parking lot. We've pulled somebody over for whatever traffic violation. While we're in that parking lot, there's a call for shoplifters running out of that Albertsons, right?
Okay.
He's like, my buddy is like talking to the guy at the window. I see this happening, and I just see him sprinting across the parking lot. My buddy looks up, just goes back to, talking to the guy in the car. When he gets back to the car, I was like, what? Those guys are shoplifting. It just came over the radio. And he's like, oh, yeah, there's no point. And I'm like, we're not going to go get him. And he's like, why? What am I going to do? I can't take him to jail. I can't charge him with anything. And I was just like, what? That's what the law is? Like the cops are just like, well, nothing we can do about it. And you're like, wow, dude.
Hey, Nate, can you, is your camera on UBS stream or is it on Cam?
No, I'm just Cam Link. Oh, right, maybe am I like small or something? What's going on?
You're small and we can see like all your camera settings below it.
Oh, that's weird.
No one likes it. No one in the chat likes the
USB streaming.
Yeah, it's just a little. I don't know what it is. Uh-oh.
Hold on.
What's
Let
up,
me
fellas?
let
Hey,
me
Ben
let me
Pappas.
reconnect. That's weird.
All
I
right,
don't know
brother.
why it's doing that.
What's happening,
Ben
Jake?
Pat-
Good to see you, man.
What's up, big dog? You killing it, man. You running around the world, moving mountains, brother.
Trying, man. Trying to get like you, you know?
Hey, just hey, hold on, brother, because we got some stuff cooking, bro.
I know you do.
You're gonna get a phone call, man, because this
Hey,
stuff I got
I'm
over
ready.
here.
I'm ready,
It's
brother.
crazy.
I'm ready.
Crazy what I got going on, man.
That's
Yeah,
awesome, man.
it's gonna be we're gonna move the whole country, bro. That's
Fantastic, brother.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited. I had that coaching membership I've got going on is growing steadily and
Okay.
just so much fun. You know, it's like getting to do the live session with everybody. The community is starting to grow. Just a lot of fun seeing everybody accomplish stuff during the week and, you know, staying in touch with everyone. But it's a fantastic opportunity right now, you know, just watching this grow, this coaching membership, something I've never done before. Everything before, you know, was a lot of one-on-one, a lot of corporate, a lot of, you know, senior executives, leaders in the entertainment industry, manufacturing, and finance, Wall Street, a lot of CEOs and founders, you know, and I had so many people reach out to me and just be like, hey, I really want to work with you, but, you know, I can't do this. I can't do this one-on-one thing. And so I created this coaching membership program, and it's, you know, it's super accessible. I mean, it's $47.99 a month. I mean, annual membership. And, you know, so I'm trying to make it as accessible as possible for people out there that, you know, want to get in and learn as much as they can from me and provide as much content there. But eventually you're going to be a guest on there. You know it. You know you're going to be coming on there eventually.
Let's go. I got I'm doing Leadership Lab at 7.
I know you got that, right?
Yeah.
Is yours after this?
Lab. Yeah, at 7. So, you know, It's interesting because that's how I started off, Ben. Like my used to be Friday night Zooms started off because you couldn't answer everybody's questions.
Right.
And then that got really big. And now we're doing it through Discord, which the Discord, like I have the Discord. Obviously my guy 2K runs my Discord, but we got like 2,500 people in Discord now.
That's crazy, man. That's a great thing you're doing though. Cause you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about helping people, you know, and you know, whatever reaches the most people. Cause like I tell people, you know, if you decide to work with me as a client, as a, you know, customer, whatever like that, and work with me, that's great. But if not, if you're listening, I get to fulfill my own personal mission of service. You know, I get to be an inspirational leader and make a difference. And, you know, that's important too, that, you know, we serve something bigger than ourselves. And so I think that's what we do with the War Room as well. And with, you know, our channels and things. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'd say you can't take it with you, you know? So at the end of the day, it's how many lives you touch and the way you impact people and make a difference. And I know you and I are, you know, there's no space between us on that. We're the same on that. So that's everything, you know.
That whole idea to take millions of dollars or billions of dollars with you when you die is, you know, like
it's not happening.
I'd rather have generations talking about how much I helped them.
Amen. Amen. That picture of you with the F-35 pilots, that's priceless, dude. Priceless. Tell us about that a little bit, man. Tell us about that. That's amazing.
So, shout out to Joe. Shout out to Captain Ryan in the Marine Corps. Shout out to Joe in the Navy. I've been talking to those dudes. It's weird, man. I've been talking to them about 4 years. They had questions early on. I said, listen, man, the number one thing you got to do is study. They're both commercial airline pilots. Wow, they both had a ton of hours. I said, listen, flying the plane ain't going to be the problem. Academics is normally what gets people. Right. And I mean, when I tell you they were eating it up, like I didn't hear from them until they got to primary, which is, you know, a little ways in. And I was like, oh man, you in primary? And one of them had called me like a week before, said he was in primary. I said, hey, is Joe in your class? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, he's on the same program you on. So then the two of them were like, oh shit, like, and it was crazy, man. And they both been killing it and they got it done. And, you know, now they're going to jet. So the pipeline's a little bit different now. They don't get all the stuff they used to get in the pipeline now.
Okay.
Before they go to their jets.
Dude, are they going to be able to put you up in there? Is there a back seat in there? Is it all a single seater?
Nah, you know, I try to stay low, but I mean, they flying F-18, so I'm sure,
Get up in there, man. Get up in there.
I'm telling you right now, though, if you're in LA, we getting a ride with Aaron Garcia in a C-17. That's the kid that was living in the car for 3 years by himself.
Let's do it,
in a Honda Fit and going to flight school, going to Honda Fit. He's coming back in June. C-17s out of Riverside, so that's another one.
Cool.
Man.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I love it. I'm all about
trying to jump. I want to jump out the back of the plane. Like I got to figure out how I can just exit rear ramp.
So. Congrats to you on that. That's great. What's up, Aaron?
Yo, 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 what's up, fellas? How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Greetings from
Good.
beautiful Sanford, Florida. How are you guys doing?
Aaron, why does it look like you're in like an Afghan fucking barracks hut right now?
Bro, this place is, we were pulling in here and we're like, are you kidding? This place is called the Dollhouse. It legit had, like, my room has pink curtains on it and stuff. I was like, I gotta sleep in there. It is so creepy down here. We are in the ghetto. It is not good. Like, I'm yelling at Peaches about his choosing for this TV watch.
Yeah, I feel like this is like some Battlefield update brief. And so go ahead over there, tell us. And you're like, today we engaged the enemy. Today we took direct fire for over 2 hours, launched HIMARS, called in, AC-130 was on station.
Some civilians are in the other room. We've got them tied up, committing war crimes right now. I'm just in the back of this house that we took over. No, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's real good.
Nice, man. Nice. What's up, Nate?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, man? Good,
man.
Rock and rolling. That episode went pretty well. It was good. I saw that.
Yeah, it's still pumping.
Very cool.
Like 110,000.
Very cool
views on that.
Yeah,
people liked it, man.
Had some people reach
a lot of good information in that. I mean, it's like, again, it's like MARSOC is. It's not like you guys are secretive. It's just that I feel like so few people know really.
Yeah.
A whole lot about it.
I mean, I think it's part of the culture though too. Like really, like culturally. I don't know. That's probably like a Marine Corps thing too, where people don't really talk a lot. They don't really. And I mean, Force Recon was the same way. It's like they, the brothers kind of beat themselves up, like no, you don't talk a lot about it. Don't brag. Someone always knows some shit about you that said don't get ahead of don't get out over your skis too far, all that stuff. So, and so that's but yeah, I mean, it was great. It was great. It's really great that that it could be helpful and useful. It's good.
Special guest Peaches. We wore our matching shirts today. Check that out. Look how good that looks.
Nice.
Yeah. Hi everybody. What's up? Peaches says, "What's up, everybody in the chat? How are you?"
Hey, what's up, Jake? I love your background there. We got a belt fed something. I don't know. Pretty cool. I'm not sure about that one, but yeah. So is Jay in today or is he out today?
No, Jay is not here today. Jay decided to. He's out. I believe he's simping with his wife again. Is the way to go. He said he was going to be a little bit late. If you guys are ready, we're ready to hop into this first one. You guys ready to go?
I'm ready to rock and roll if you are, and if not, I have a quick other topic we can talk. So it's up to you. But just the White House meeting with the crypto. I know Aaron, you and I are both interested in that. We got to talk about
that. Yeah.
At some point.
Man, start. You know what? You start off with start talking about your crypto, and I'll bring up the big decision here.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised to see that. I know he talked about it before, but some of the things people had talked about for major game changers in crypto would be if there was some type of policy statement that came out. I've got some friends of mine that I advise, things like that have crypto businesses that they're actually miners as well too, for a few of the big five. And,
wait, like miners or minors?
No, they actually do
both.
The mining,
the Chinese kind,
mining, trading, and creation. And so
some 10-year-old is telling Ben Pappas what to do with his crypto. That's not going to be good.
I think at that point depends on how much they have and what they know. Some of these youngins are a little bit ahead of me on this stuff. But yeah, I mean, one of the guys was telling me the couple big things is there going to be a policy statement that comes out. It came out. The next thing is, are they actually going to hold a crypto meeting at the White House? And here it is. So Trump's doing everything he said he would do. I'm just hoping we see some real gains, in the crypto market from that, because it was lagging a little bit today. But for everybody interested out there, big thing. And Aaron, why don't you go ahead and take it on this?
Yeah. So just as Ben is talking about here, so Trump signs an order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now he actually named 3 or 4 other cryptos that are in there, but on March 7th, President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to establish a strategic reserve of cryptocurrencies by using tokens already owned by the government, disappointing some in the market because they had hoped for a firm to buy new tokens. The announcement made on Thursday set the price of Bitcoin down around 5% to 85K. In early European trading on Friday, Bitcoin's recovered to about 89. Some of the other cryptos that they named in here, XRP, Solana, and ADA. If you guys aren't tracking, those are all great cryptos, along with established coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ben, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling good about it. I mean, I do wish that he was saying that we're going to accumulate more. I think that's what we were all hoping for those of us that are, interested in the, in crypto. But I mean, obviously it's a far cry from the previous administration that was really trying to overregulate and going after this. And as one of the people said in the meeting today, one of the, the big crypto leaders said he felt like I went from being ready to go into jail from all the investigations and things that were going on into me to all of a sudden feeling like, we're back where we should be, because the United States should be the leader in crypto. It's just ours for the taking. And if we abdicate that and give it away, someone else will take it. And when this goes crazy and really goes up, as many people are predicting, we're going to stand to lose out a lot. But, there's some speculation out there that someday in the not distant future, the craziest thing I've heard, it's not really crazy, it's just big, that Bitcoin could go to, $1 million a coin in the near future. And I've even heard it as going beyond that too, where there's some people that have theorized that this is going to create like a new quote unquote aristocracy for those that it's like the landholders. You either had the land grab and you hold the coins like holding land, or you don't. And so there's going to create a whole different class structure, they're saying, in like 50 years or something. So maybe even 30 years, I don't know, but we shall see. So for me and my part, I hope to see it go up more and more. That would be good. Very good.
Shout out. Yeah, Nate, you have way too many other GWAT-isms. Are you also a crypto bro, or do you not care?
No, I'm like the most fucking boomer investor ever, bro. I'm like fully in dividend-based ETFs, right? VOO, the SPY.
That's it, VOO, BTI.
But
SPY,
I mean, I got a lot of money in those, right? So like those dividends just churn out cash. And so I had quite a bit of money in crypto a few years ago. I also had 100 grand in NVIDIA right before Russia invaded, when they were at about 170 a share. That was before they fucking 15x'd. I sold all of it when Russia invaded. I got out of all of my tech. I profited a little bit. And then now I realized, like, had I just not transitioned over to all my safe stocks, I probably wouldn't be doing this podcast right now.
Just public
I would be retired.
But
that's the way it goes, right?
Like Nate, what Nate's doing, I think, is smart and good. Crypto is super risky still, so make no mistake. Like, I don't advise, if you can't walk away from that money, I mean, just be very, very careful. If you know a lot about it and you understand it and you feel comfortable, do what you want. But I'm just saying, Nate's using a very good strategy. I mean, the automatic investment is a very good strategy. 401ks, all those things. Real estate's fantastic control.
And that's where I have the other part of my wealth too. Real estate, and then I mean the market, right? The two just sort of the boomer approach. And the reason why I did it, I was pretty high risk, a lot of tech, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I had it all. And then active duty deploying, I was so fucking stressed out all the time. And, those swings are massive. Right. And I did it for my own mental health, right? Where I was just like, dude, I can't now. I look at Webull like once every like month, maybe. Like, what's the market? I looked at it today. I'm like, wait, the market tanked fucking 10%. What? When? Oh well, okay, cool. I'm not worried about it, because I'm never gonna sell. I'm not gonna sell my VOO. I'm not gonna sell the SPY for the next 20 years. So what am I worried about? Now again, Bitcoin's the same way, right? It's just that those when you watch Bitcoin go from 72,000 to 30,000, that's a little bit different than watching VOO go from 450 to 420. You know what I mean?
Right.
To
your net wealth. Hold what you got. Like you just see that shit dropping. I mean, I just shut it off, put it away. I'm like, I'm riding the puppy down, and whatever happens.
Yeah. And you have to be willing to do that. If you're not willing, and that's any investment, whether it's, the market, Bitcoin, if you're not willing to lose it, like, you shouldn't have it invested to begin with. That's what I tell people. I say, I'm just kind of like the staunch, like Warren Buffett approach of like, you need to have $30,000 in reserve savings. Once you have that, right, whatever 6 months forward looking for you is, and then I put everything else in the market or real estate. But again, I know that I have, if all else fails, right, retirement plus a reserve fund, I can lose it all and still survive with my family, right? So that's what I think you got to do. If you've got $2,000 in your savings account and you're pumping the rest of your net worth into Bitcoin,
that's so smart.
maybe.
All right, so
maybe. I guess.
provide a counterbalance to you fucking boomers. So get on the train,
There
everybody. We're going to talk crypto. I'm going to give you a quick look at what XRP is. I'm
oh God, my buddy has been fucking hammering me about XRP.
Your buddy's
XRP,
right. If you'd have
XRP.
listened to me 3 months ago,
I
can pull up the group chat right now where I told you.
He was telling me at the same time, and he tells me nonstop. He's like, dude, I told you. Also, still fucking just put a bunch of money in there. And I needed to do it. Yeah, XRP. I do think XRP. I think XRP, the more I've looked into it, because I'm probably going to start putting, that's probably where I'm going to start putting money in Bitcoin. Not in Bitcoin, but in XRP.
Right.
I just think it has.
Bitcoin is like saying Xerox, right? It's like everybody says Xerox for a copy.
Bitcoin to me is like gold, right? It's kind of like digital gold for an investment, whereas XRP has actual use function going forward that I think could actually revolutionize the way currency is. It's kind of like what Bitcoin said it was going to be as a currency. Like XRP has the ability to actually be that, I'm interested. I'm interested in like functional things. But like
XRP
gold,
is your.
I don't have any money in gold either.
So tell us a little about XRP there, Aaron. Tell us about that.
Yeah. XRP, think of XRP. There's the native coin from Ripple USA, and that's a stable coin. Like you would actually have a coin to take an exchange value. XRP operates on the newly enacted 2022 protocol that essentially is a transfer mechanism between large banks. If you wanted to transfer large sums of money between a bank right now, it would take 1 to 3 business days, and there's money and energy that's involved. Number one, XRP is completely green. It takes less energy the more money you transfer. So if you're talking about making a $20 billion transfer, that actually takes less XRP than it would to actually transfer. So the things from Ethereum, like gas fees and all this other stuff, the underlying systems that it support, like SWIFT, large banking organizations, and now it's part of the U.S. crypto reserve. These things all like faster transactions and are being adopted widely by the market. There's a couple in that bucket, there's XRP, there's HBAR, there's a couple, Ondo Financer, a couple other that are smaller coins, but actually support a transfer protocol as opposed to being a store of value like Nate just succinctly put out there with Bitcoin. So what this means, though, and let me give you some simple math. There's some XRP predictions that people think it can go up to 500, 900, 1,000, some all the way up to $10,000. And there's this really dumb conversation about market cap in here, which old boomer investors try to apply to Bitcoin or to crypto because they just, quite frankly, in my opinion,
getting on Coinbase right now.
Right, exactly. So they don't quite understand it. But let me just give you some simple math right now. So if Donald Trump decides to use XRP as the national reserve for crypto, and that immediately pumps the price up of a finite resource, and it goes up to $947. The amount of XRP that he had would leave him with a profit of $36 trillion. That wipes out the national debt. If it goes up to 10,000, like people are supposed to say at current market price in Bitcoin or in XRP pricing, if that price rises to $10,000, we pay off every debt that we've ever had, and we have a $30 trillion surplus for the United States of America.
And Ben Pappas is a gazillionaire. Let's freaking go 10,000.
Hey, I'm gonna be open, honest, and transparent. I have about 11,000 XRP. If this stuff goes to $10,000, y'all ain't ever hearing from me ever fucking again. I am out of here. I'm not on podcast. I'm not even gonna. You guys can't.
You gotta be on the podcast. What? Come on, man.
He's gonna be Aaron Epstein at that point, man. Private islands, all the good stuff, dude.
I'm gonna be a ghost. So, as always, none of this is none of this is financial advice. And I will say, but as we're talking about crypto and we talk about
what's the good thing with XRP too is though for like $2.60 a coin, and you still have a lot of upside of that. I mean, Bitcoin, we're talking $90,000 for a coin, right? And that's down. It's down. So. How much you're really going to gain unless you suddenly have big windfall profits, whatever, then it's something to think about. But we're talking, what Aaron's saying there, if it goes to 500 and you buy 100, you're cooking, man. You buy 200, 300, right? I'm talking, and it's not going to kill you. It's not going to, break the bank. And again, with anything though, if you need that for groceries, please, take care of yourself first and wait till you have the reserve Nate's talking about. These are realities that, people are facing. And so we feel you. We trust me. We've all been there where I had $2 left in my checking account. And I'm like, all right, great, but keep plugging away, man. Keep plugging away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to move on to this next story here. So again, not financial advice, but looking at those to button up the crypto. If you're looking at crypto and looking to dip your toe in, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ADA, XRP. Those are the big five. Go check them out. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is there's a lot of stuff happening. I know with the Epstein files release that we're all upset with, and Pam Bondi's performance up until this point, everybody's like, come on, you're not doing enough. There's a lot of things happening, just not in that regard. Well, speaking of the FBI and Kash Patel, breaking, I can now report that today the FBI, along with our interagency partners led by AG Pam Bondi, arrested 2 active duty U.S. Army soldiers and 1 former U.S. Army soldier for the theft of government property and a bribery scheme. These individuals have been charged with stealing America's defense intelligence capabilities and empowering adversaries like China in the betrayal of our country. They will now face American justice. Ben Pappas, future threats guy, the man, the myth, the legend. What do you think about these 2 Army guys getting hemmed up, selling stuff to the Chinese?
I mean, we have to make an example of them, right? I mean, treason and treachery of this kind. I mean, it has to be punished. I mean, honestly, I still, I'm disgusted still by the whole WikiLeaks thing, and I mean, what is it? The NSA guy, the whistleblower, right? There's a process for the whistleblowing, and I hate to say it, but like, I can keep expanding this to other people that were active duty and they said they're not going to do something. They use their platform that they say it's to make a statement, but the next thing you know, they have massive political gain for themselves. I mean, just like, but especially something like this, you're giving away state secrets to an adversary. They got to hammer them. I mean, they got to hammer them. Yeah. They got to make an example of them. This is not okay. Like I can remember years ago, there was that Army, whatever private, or, maybe it was a sergeant, I can't remember, but like gave all these things away from a JWIX account. And, they kind of didn't do a whole lot. They didn't do a whole lot. It was like, well, no, fucking crush, man. I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't get some of that. I really don't get it. It's like, we lose our professionalism, especially in the armed forces. We do lose lethality. We lose an edge over the adversary. And it hurts it, and it damages good order and discipline too for the armed forces. And it just makes it a precedent. If they bungle this, if they don't make these people pay and make it public and make it known, you encourage other people to be like, well, it's worth the risk. You got to make it so that nobody wants to do it. The hammer has to drop for sure.
Yeah. Nate, people selling secrets to the Chinese. I think you probably don't have a great opinion of those guys, but what say you?
Well, I mean, I'm a first group dude, right? So I've got a little bit different opinion. I've worked with a bunch of Chinese national Green Berets where you're like, what's your backstory? You're a rural farmer that can reroute an SDN and reprogram the firewall without any directions. That's weird for an 18 Echo to be able to do, right? Oh, and you're immediately going back to China the second you're getting out from this. Okay. Yeah, no big deal, right? So like that's not that rare of a thing in first group, because it's like, well, yeah, but this dude's like a 6'6" Chinese speaker, right? And so he's like massive value added everywhere we go in Southeast Asia. So it's like, go back to like stealing secrets like the good way, right? The traditional way. Do your time in service, right? You serve. I got a buddy that fucking's got Valor Awards and he went straight back to China, right? Like you fought, good on you. Take the secrets back then, right? You earned it. But like, to be selling them while you're active duty still in the service, right? Like, come on, bro. Like, you can't do that shit. Now, again, guys, I'm obviously joking, right? Like, it is a big fucking deal. And if you look at China, reasons. Yeah, obviously, I'm kidding. But if you look at their fighter jets, look at all their equipment. All of it is just like literal copy paste of American technology. And it's like, where do you think they're fucking getting it? They're not hacking into the servers, finding it. They're being sold it. But like, this isn't. I don't think people realize like how probably common this actually is. Like grand scheme over the entire DoD over the last 20 years, it's probably not that rare, right? I bet there's been a ton of times this has happened. It's just these guys happen to get caught. So yeah, I think Ben's right. I think you have to literally like fucking string them up, dude. Like public hangings, right? That's a little over the top, but like you have to make a massive example out of this, especially.
Their cyber collection capability, again, not to go into anything we can't talk about, but going back even a few years ago, we can talk about that, was significant to the fact that like major firms like Lockheed, Boeing, General Dynamics, you name it, Moog, all these places, I mean, they had such a harvesting of all their info, and so yes, the human capability and the human turnover is occurring, but there's a reason why we did some really hard stuff to them before, because they were literally stealing so much intellectual property and so much tech, from us, and just this slow drip by insertion of certain codes and viruses and things that are backdoors, and then just a slow drip giving to them, that, we diplomatically and politically behind closed doors and up front, everything, sanctions, you name it, had to really hammer on them and just say, look, you got to stop this. And again, when you have several battalions worth of, signals intelligence and, NSA-like capabilities, several battalions, and they leverage scale and computing power, it makes a big difference. Now, the quantum computing revolution, the chips we're coming out with now, would just decimate them, and not to get in this whole discussion, but there's the computing power, there's no competition, but they're not far behind because they probably already stolen that from us. And so this is going on behind the scenes, everyone, where, it's a shadow war competition that could, tip the scales either way. If you get a ship killing technology, put it this way, carrier battle groups go away. That strategic advantage goes away. If you have a ship killing technology with a ballistic missile that they found can defeat our tech to stop them, we're no longer the big badass. We'll send the carrier battle group over there, or we'll send our badass, air squadrons to take you out. And they already know how to negate that. We're done. So that's why this is such a big deal. Those tech advantages really matter. And we've got some of the, honestly, the brightest minds, most capable people in our country working on that stuff behind the scenes right now. A few people I work with in my business do stuff like this as well too. So, are in emerging tech, venture capital, things like that. So very interesting.
Yeah, and they actually got, real quick, when I was in the Q course, this is 2014, we got notified. They're like, by the way, SWIC, so JFK SWIC, right, our Special Warfare Center in school, which encompasses like everything, Halo School, Dive School, Q course, everything. They're like, hey, by the way, they got hacked by the Chinese, and they have everyone who's a part of SWIC's personal information, just so you guys know. And you're like, oh, okay, great.
Perfect.
Like, thanks. Moving on with my life, I guess, but like, yeah, so yeah, wouldn't be shocked. Like if they can sweep that up in 2014, like what else are they grabbing,
Yeah. Perfect. Some perfect background to this. So I did an episode with I Came With Fire where we talked about Chinese IP theft and how it affects innovation in military service. So go check that one out. The other thing you should check out if you really want a good exposition on what it is that we're doing, fighting China in these 5th gen warfare. And Jake, to catch you up, the reason why we're talking about this is we caught 2 active duty soldiers giving secrets to the Chinese. So that's what sparked this whole conversation. But if you want to read a book about what the 5th gen warfare looks like right now, go check out Stealth War, how China took over America's elite warfighting. Retired Air Force Brigadier General Robert Spalding wrote that book. It's fantastic if you want to understand the 5th gen warfare that we're in. But Jake, we got 2 Army guys. They're selling secrets to the Chinese. What do you think you should do?
I mean, I'm all for drawing and quartering them, right? Like this is the same thing I've been saying about the Chinese. Why their crime rate is so low? That 17-cent punishment, it don't take but maybe like 5 guys across the country televised happening in damn Dallas Stadium, and cats is like, it ain't worth it. So, I mean, obviously we got a bunch of dudes. I'm getting a lot of comments on my video about the 4 dudes running the cartel down there that are all special forces. It's the same thing. Like, our country's big. We're going to have people that want to make money and sell us out. You know what I'm saying? Hang them from the gallows, bro. That's what they get.
Yeah. And people conflate. We started talking about Edward Snowden as well. And my views on Edward Snowden have been conflicted, and they've evolved over time. Like initially I was like, listen, man, he brought America's attention to an entire FISA and an entire surveillance network that the leader of the CIA straight lied. Like John Brennan sat down in front of Congress and lied and said he didn't know if they were actually collecting on Americans, and that was turned out to be a lie. But I've gotten to the point now where I agree with all of you. Like, I'm sorry, you also committed treason. So you also, you gave our adversaries, like, yes, you put it out through WikiLeaks, and yes, the program that you exposed was bad, but he's not a whistleblower. He's a traitor. He put out information that compromised ways, means, methods, and people. And he did that to an adversary. And we have to have a line in the sand somewhere. Like if he wanted to be a whistleblower, if he would have done that the right way and been like, hey, I'm privy to this program where I know that we're doing things that are illegal and I'm going to engage the whistleblower, I'd be way more cavalier about my, the line of reasoning out there right now that's like, oh, we have to pardon Edward Snowden. I'm like, no, the fuck.
Well, Aaron, real quick, I think like my biggest thing is like you didn't like actually sit on your morals, dude. You didn't like
No.
say, hey, here's what fucking happened. Everybody knows it. I'll go down with the ship because it's the right thing to fucking do. And stay in the country, get arrested, probably would have been pardoned fucking a year later. But instead, he decided to run off to fucking Russia and hide. Like, so at that point, to me, like, you lost it. I don't care about Russia or China or wherever you went, but like, if you really felt like you were exposing something important on behalf of America, like, you do it loud, you do it the right way, and you say, take me to fucking jail. Do it. Right. But he didn't. So that's where I agree with you on that one. Like, there was an appropriate way to do that.
Into an adversary. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, I'm going to say
an adversary. Yeah.
I mean, we have examples of people today who stood by their convictions. They had the courage of their convictions. They went to jail, you know, I mean, over their political views. And, you know, so I mean, that has happened. Steve Bannon, you know, then they put him in jail. And because he believed in what he was doing. Okay, everyone can argue back and forth about it, but there's an example. Went to jail, didn't run. Was like, nope, not talking. That's it. Put me in jail.
Yep.
Went to jail, and you know, Trump's prior strategist, his chief of staff, they put him in jail trying to make sure Trump wouldn't win. Didn't work out so good for him. But anyway, as an example, I agree with you. If you have the courage of your convictions, you do it the appropriate way. And that way, you know, eventually I do think you're right. I think he would have been a lot more effective, but instead, I mean, he's a traitor. That's what he is.
Yeah. And you, as opposed to being a traitor, you'd love to be a kingpin. Somebody maybe calling the shots of the cartel. Well, except probably for this week. So a who's who of Mexican extradited cartel bosses, 29 cartel leaders sent to the U.S. represent 40 years of evolution. The Guadalajara cartel, Sinaloa cartel, the CJNG, the Zetas, the BLO, even the Gulf cartel. Everybody came to play. So some legendary figures that got rolled up in this. Rafael Caro Quintero, alias El Narco de Narcos. That means the narco of narcos, everybody.
These are the guys from Narcos, from the show Narcos, right? These are like the guys, right?
Yeah.
He's a legendary
figure. Stars of Narcos.
Yeah. He's the co-founder of the Guadalajara cartel in the 70s and 80s. He helped pioneer large-scale marijuana and cocaína trafficking to the United States. Vincent Carrillo Fuentes, alias El Viceroy. That means the Viceroy. He led the Juarez cartel during the 90s and early 2000s, inheriting the empire built by his brother Amado. Some other high-profile leaders. We've got Miguel Angel Trevino Morales, alias Z40.
And if I do remember, Rafa was very mad at Miguel Angel for going from marijuana to cocaine. I've seen Narcos. I know the story.
The Sinaloa cartel, there's some big figures out of there. The basic story to this is 29 folks that were the leaders of this organization that have now been denoted as a foreign terrorist group. We're going to start off with you, Nate. So we're cutting the heads off of all these snakes. Do you think it's going to produce more snakes?
I mean, it has in the past, right? I think it's funny. Aaron says Sinaloa the way I do. I had so many people in my video. They're like, you need to say Sinaloa right. And I'm like, you need to say Sinaloa. And I'm like, I'm fucking the whitest dude ever. I'm going to say Sinaloa. And I'm going to say, exactly. And I'm going to say Jalisco. All right. That's how you fucking say it.
Hey,
I'm not speaking Mexican. I'm speaking American,
going to
right?
Cafe de Jalisco, and I'm going to get me some huevos.
Your goddamn hell yeah, brother. Right. That's what I'm like. Anyway, all right. I'm spiraling. But anyway, I had so many people pissed off. I'm like, I'm not fucking conforming. Okay. And anyway, I look at it kind of like, I look at the cartel. I know a lot of people want to look at it as like a terrorist organization, this, and that. I look at it more as sort of how the mafias were in America for a long time, right? Like you had a bunch of like the Italian mob and all the different mobs, right? And all the different mob bosses, and everybody thought like, oh, this is never going away. And eventually, like America put its foot down and said, actually, yeah, we're going to give you the full brunt of everything we have. And now it's not gone completely, right? But it did actually work. And you would have like think about how embedded the mafia was. Like the mafia owned the unions, they owned politicians, they owned fucking everything, just like the cartel. And we got rid of them, right? And it took, Giuliani and all that, right? But that's kind of how I see it. Is I don't like the argument that it like, oh, well, it hasn't worked so far. So the cartels, you can't do anything about the cartels. If you get rid of the head of the snake, then yeah, right. A new one just takes its place. It gets more violent. Like, yeah, sure. Until you like literally cut the head off of every snake over and over and over and over and over again, like we did to the mafias, to where eventually you throw your hands up. But I just don't believe that's something that America can force. I think it's
even with
a great video though. Too,
I think Mexico has to, and again, I don't know how you get there, but it's got to be like on their shoulders with the assistance of the United States. And I don't know if we're there yet.
You know, Nate, you made that video too, real quick. And Jake, I know you want to jump in, but you had a great video about, you know, us sending armor units down to the border.
Yeah, Stryker brigades headed down there.
I mean, I've seen these guys in action too. I mean, they can jack a city up pretty fast, man. I mean, Bradley's, everything else involved in that. If you bring a tank battalion down there, I mean, you can raise hell. I mean, Apaches, all that stuff. That's the thing, the level of violence that we can bring really quickly. And I don't know if we'd want to do that. That's, you know, we're waging war basically, but you know, if it's the right move, if they say, hey, this like Mexican government says, yeah, that little town over there, just you take care of that for us. It's over, you know? So, I mean, the reaction you said that people are panicking over that as we bring, you know, special forces and we're bringing armor and all these things. I mean, that's significant, but that looks like a really interesting video you got over there. So if you haven't seen it, people check that out.
Yeah.
So Nate, what I want to add is if you look at the crime rates prior or pre getting rid of, damn, what
Mafia.
the hell you
Mafia.
I was sitting terrorists.
I'm with you, dude.
If you look at the crime rates were completely different than now because they pretty much controlled the whole country.
It's kind of like the Saddam Hussein effect, right?
100%. So like one of my things, I'm like, bring back the mafia, man. You want to get rid of all this crime? You want to clean up America? Bring them back, man. Watch them get rid of opioids overnight. Overnight, 100%. They get rid of it. Right.
You know,
now, go ahead, Ben.
No, real quick. I wrote a paper a while back on transnational organized crime. And one of the things, we had leaders from the trad gangs and the Yakuza testifying. And at the time, it was also some of the syndicates. They were called the syndicates back then, like, you know, the cocaine, all those things like that. They were cartels, more or less. But they were saying the biggest problem we have with our crimes, what Jake is saying, they testified to Congress and the congressional members, the leaders of these groups, you know, offered, you know, no prosecution, no issues. Just, we want to know, what do you think? They said, you know what your problem is? Why your crime is out of control? Now you have Asian gangs. You've got, you know, all the gangs like the Crips and Bloods. You got the Hells Angels, 1%ers are going bananas, you know, and they've always been hardcore. But I mean, it's because you got rid of your mafia. They said the mafia before was your biggest connection between politicians and law enforcement and the street, you know, and like the Japanese police allow the Yakuza to run things if they keep a lid on street crime. You know, and they leave them alone basically. So because they have a partnership, like we don't want to see it, we don't want to know about it, keep it under control, run the underworld for us, make sure it doesn't reach into the normal people. And that's the agreement. So kind of what you're saying, Jake.
World class, Ben. Way to back up backroom politics by Jake.
Boom.
Thank you, man.
I love it. So Jake, we'll put this one in your corner because I know the kind of response that I'm probably going to get, and that's why the people are here. So now that we have these 29 individuals, let's say we extradite them back and we're going to make a statement to these cartels. What punishment do you think is appropriate now that we've denoted them as a terrorist organization? We brought them back. We have these 29 high-ranking individuals. How do we dissuade another head from growing on this snake?
Man, this is where I come with a conundrum because I watched what happened in Afghanistan for 20 years and we just kept lopping heads off, and then we come back and it's a new head in the same place. I think there's too much money down south. I'm looking at it, how do you win the war, right? Do you put them in prison for 10 years and you win the war, you keep them alive, and then you send them home? I don't know the answer. Here's the deal, Aaron. I think it's easy for me to whack Americans that are doing dumb stuff like crime. I think it's hard to start whacking guys in Mexico because now I'm breeding more hate and discontent from Mexico.
Yeah, sure. And I'll tell you what, like you have to win the hearts and minds, and whether you want to say it or not, a lot of these narcos are extremely popular with the people. And when you couple that in with, say, I don't know, some new tariffs that are coming in or some international soft power discussions that we're having, you can quickly lose the people of Mexico, which truly have been our neighbors. And, you know, the people of Mexico is not who we're talking about when we say Mexico, the state. Yeah. That's obviously it's obviously narco ridden. It's obviously run by the narcos, and we have to find a way to separate that from Scheinbaum and the rest of the administration there. But you can quickly lose the hearts and minds of an entire people, and that's a pretty bad thing. to have on your southern border, because then we would make Zelensky correct, and he would say that we would feel it sooner than later, thanks to our members. What we're going to do now is we're going to have just a quick one here. This was shared from Jake, so we'll turn it over to you first. A new California bill would make it illegal to defend yourself in certain situations. These rules are exactly like what Europe has, with right to retreat and your use of weapons. Basically, if you guys didn't know, shout out to Aaron Love Hate Club, who's living over in the worst place on the face of the planet right now, which is Europe in general. But when I lived in England, you could get arrested for having a baseball bat in your car because there was rules on weapons. You can't carry a gun. You can't carry a knife. They're very restrictive on what knives you can have. So guys would literally be leaving base with their Leatherman, and they would get hemmed up by the Ministry of Defense for having a knife on them, and it was a serious thing. But property rights are also not the same. There's really no personal property. It all belongs to the crown. So if somebody, say you're having a barbecue, and somebody walks in your back door and just wants to hang out, and you don't know him, he doesn't have to leave. You have no right to tell him he has to leave. You can call the police, but even sometimes that doesn't work out. And what California is saying here is that you may actually have a right to retreat inside of your own house. You may have to, basically the rule is if they're in the living room, you go to the kitchen. If they come into the kitchen, you go outside. Your rights go out the window for personal protection. Now there's a little thing called the Bill of Rights. And in the Second Amendment there, the Second Amendment to the Constitution, there's a little thing called the right to bear arms, which we have here in America. It's 27 words long, but really what it does is it gives you your inherent God-given right to self-protection. California, I've always said, is really close to America, and that's why it's so cool. But this is just another commie, socialist, Marxist, ideological move to protect the people that are actually hurting you. Jake, how many times should you be able to shoot a home intruder?
Until the gun goes click.
Oh no! Whoa! Well, luckily we got me here as our resident actual legal use of force instructor who can tell you the actual legal
conversation
answer.
I wasn't even gonna ask you, Nate. I was gonna ignore you
hang
completely.
on, no, Aaron.
There's a real legal answer for that question as well. Yeah.
Listen. If you don't think I got the plant ready, I grew up in Tacoma, Washington.
Drop gun.
Shout out to the Narrows.
Drop gun in my own house.
Oh, bro, you don't think
an Afghan ran in here. I don't know what happened. Third Sock Commando ran in here.
This is going to become evidence soon. This piece of clicker. Delete all this.
Oh yeah.
I'm in Texas. You ain't got nothing to worry about. You kill a man on your property after dark.
Yeah. Jake's fine. Jake doesn't have to worry about much. Now,
all right, Nate,
legal
tell
use
us
of
about the law.
Yeah. Okay, so it's first thing to understand, it's different everywhere, right? State by state, massive when it comes to legal use of force laws. Texas. In Texas, you have deadly use of force and property, which means if you try to steal my bike, I can shoot you in the fucking face for it, and the DA will be like, "Roger that, Big Sarge, you're good." Now, in a place like California, that's not the same. Now, for how many times?
Can you make a salt lick with your bike in the backyard?
Probably, yeah, in Texas or Florida, right? So you have stand your ground states, all these different things. Obviously, California is not a stand your ground state. But for Jake's point, how many times can I shoot you in my house legally? I can shoot you as many times as it takes to change your behavior. Okay, that's the key phrase right there. Not shoot you till you're dead, shoot you till you go down, shoot you till you change your behavior. Once your behavior changes.
But I've heard legally, I'm sorry, jump in. I got to jump. It's very important. I've heard legally, you got to yell, "They're coming right for me." You got to keep saying it. They're coming right for us. They're coming right for us.
You do want to make loud, stop, don't move. What you don't want to do is yell in the middle of the street, "I'm going to blow your fucking head off," right? Because then when the witness down the streets, that's all they hear, and that goes before the court. There's tons that goes into this, but
don't force me to defend myself. That's another good one. Stop. Don't force me to defend myself.
Yep, just stuff like that's good. But let's get to the California. I'm trying to get there.
Quick. Just for clarification here, I just want to clarify something real quick for the guys in the chat. Yes, technically the crown owns all land in England under the doctrine of tenure system that dates back to the Norman conquest of 1068. This doesn't mean that you don't have ownership in the land. Instead, landowners hold estates in the land, meaning they have rights to possess, use, and transfer land. But ultimately, all land is held from the crown by the crown. So there you go on that.
You meant that. That was actually from the crown.
Whereas in the United States, we actually have what's called castle laws, right? And that's when it's this is why what's happening in California is such a big deal, right? Because this is actually going against castle laws, which everything, your home is your castle, right? That's the idea behind this. This goes back to the 1600s, which means your legal use of deadly force is drastically elevated your ability to use it in your own home compared to everywhere else in the world, which means is you have to be under way lower threat to use deadly force by castle doctrine. Typically, what California is now stating is castle doctrine doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you're in your fucking own home. You don't inherently have the right to put a bullet in an intruder unless there's probably a bunch of XYZ components to this that go with it.
No.
But this is actually scary because, again, your home typically everywhere in the country, not stand your ground states, even in Oregon and Washington and all these places, you break into my fucking house. And as like, there's some nuances in Oregon, like I can't shoot you in the back if you're trying to retreat and things like that. But if you're in my kitchen in Oregon, I'm going to fucking smoke you and that's it. And I'm good to go. Right. But California is now stating there's probably a bunch of legal use of force, like mechanisms now on top of what they are outdoors that are now indoors. And that's man. I mean, we talk about being pro-criminal. That's about as pro-criminal legislation as it gets, in my opinion.
Nate, there's one big one. Sexual assault does not warrant deadly force.
Yep, that's true in a lot of places
so
too.
If you're getting raped, you can't kill that dude that's raping you because you should be fleeing. Okay, let me tell you.
And a quick reminder.
That's what I needed to talk real quick about. Go ahead, Aaron, but I got to finish something up.
I was just going to say a quick reminder for everybody: if you don't train jujitsu, and this is for the guys, if two guys can hold you down, if one guy can hold you down, two guys can rape you, and you're not allowed to shoot him. Go ahead, Nate, with I'm sure your very professional input.
So that's I mean,
you
should probably be able to defend yourself.
Let me throw this in the sauce real quick, Nate, too. And this is going to be one more piece, just everything you're dealing with right now, the flurry. This is
literally like one of my legal use of force classes. All the what ifs. Awesome. There's 1,000 what ifs, and I sit up there like, you motherfuckers. Just
I'll be the worst student.
Shut up and listen.
So I had one cop tell me in California, he was like, "Look, something happens." He's like, "Just make sure they're inside your home, right? Just make sure." I was like, "Roger that." I was like, "Good to go." Fucking Roger that. Got it.
Why is there a blood trail from a CVS guy outside?
No, I mean, that's a real thing. If you are in my backyard, if you are in my shed, if you are in my garage, if you're in my car, in liberal states, bro, I shoot you and kill you, I'm going to prison for 20 years, right? Now, if you're inside my home, that's a way different story. But now California is potentially stating, even if you're in my home. But let me get to the retreat portion because that's a big part of that we haven't really talked about.
I've seen all of us training with the dummy.
California is expecting you to retreat, right, to a different room, to this, to that. That's what they're doing is they're taking what is very common in legal use of force, which is you're almost, except for in places like Texas or Florida, stand your ground, right? These things don't apply. You have an expectation to avoid and escape before you can use deadly force, which means you have to show the judge or the DA or whoever that you tried to avoid it, you tried to escape it, you had no other means, and you had to defend yourself. So what they're doing is they're taking that and then putting it inside your home. But it's like retreat from my kitchen to my backyard. That's like
they're coming.
That's not retreating, right? Like,
trying to make me defend myself.
Please
don't. You have to, but now you have to be able to justify that in your own
inside the doorway.
You have to justify that in your own home. That's literal insanity. But it's California, so why not? Fuck it. So, I'm not going to live there, so I don't have to worry about it.
I want to give some good input to everybody because that's why we're here. We're valuetainment, we're education, we're all those things wrapped up in the one. From the subject matter expert, I want to talk about one specific thing. Let's say the worst happens and you're about to make that 911 call. What do the folks on the phone need to say, keeping in mind that 911 calls are both recorded and are used as evidence against you?
Very, very specific script. I honestly, I wish I would have known this ahead of time because I would have given you literally the step-by-step word for word things you need to say. But just generality for the viewer, what you need to do, you need to be, if you shoot someone in self-defense inside, outside your home, you need to be the one that calls 911. Not a bystander, not a witness, not your friends. You call, you let them know I was attacked. I defended myself and we need an ambulance. I need police to show up. Okay. You're not going to get into any details with that 911 dispatcher. You are then going to hang up the phone after you've given your location. You are going to put your weapon, whether it be back in your holster, in your car. I wouldn't put it in your car because then that gives them the right to go through your car once they come. On the ground, when they show up, put your hands up. When the cops show up, all right, you are not going to go into detail. You are going to comply with all instructions, and you are going to let them know that I'm not going to give a statement until I have my lawyer present, period. And that's it. And then you will wait for your lawyer. Why? Because anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Okay. So everybody, and this is what gets a lot of people in a self-defense situation, is I was actually attacked, right? Somebody tried to kill me. I defended myself. I'm the good guy. So I want to tell the cops about what a good guy I am. And you were just in one of the most chaotic, stressful, fucked up things in your life. Your adrenaline's jacked through the roof, and you potentially are going to say some things that are going to incriminate you that you didn't even mean to say. Okay. So call the dispatcher, let them know where you're at, what's happened, if you need an ambulance or not. And then when the police arrive, super cooperative, but I will wait until I have a lawyer present to make my statement.
And go back to this episode and rewatch this segment really fast.
Period.
Nate,
it's very,
Nate,
very important, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of
Nate,
people in jail because they said the wrong things when they got arrested.
Are you allowed to tell the dispatcher, just send the coroner? Is that like?
I mean, I wouldn't.
Okay. All right.
Again, guys, I mean, I know we're joking about it, but this is super serious. There's a lot of people who did this the wrong way and spent a long time in jail strictly off of what they said when the police arrived. Okay. So
seriously, can I create a salt lake in the backyard? What if we put gold like Mr. Beast? We put like a pile of gold.
Listen,
you had some
get him inside your house, Ben.
Pile of gold. Right at Jake's house in Texas.
Not in the backyard. Not in the backyard.
All over the bike in the backyard.
Oh yeah. I live in Texas, bro.
Texas. Yeah.
78-year-old man.
And then we just catch him in the last minute, bring him in the house. All right,
that's probably
listen to Nathan. Listen to me.
That's probably the best advice. Just live in Texas or Florida, and then
coming right for us. They're coming right for us. Can we get a clip of that South Park? Aaron, can we get that?
Absolutely. I will pull it up here in a second.
Because this is a best practice.
I'll get you guys
going. Mind today. I've been listen. 78-year-old man kills two dudes robbing his neighbor's house in the middle of a street with a shotgun while on the call to 911. Okay,
that's Texas, baby.
They're robbing my neighbor's house. They've been robbing the neighborhood. I can't let it happen. Sir, what are you gonna do? I gotta do what I gotta do. Boom! Sir, are you shooting at the robbers? Hang on, ma'am. Boom! Ma'am, you better send an ambulance. They're down in the middle of the street. And he gave the address. Okay, now he went to jail. He was in jail for a couple days. And then good old Texas stood up and said, get that old man out of jail. He just killed some robbers. Nothing
fantastic.
Yeah,
they're not going to do that for you in
California.
Everyone,
here's step one.
Here's everything you need to do to avoid prosecution. Again, this is not legal advice.
Boys, looky there. There's a Rocky Mountain black bear, one of the few remaining of its kind. Isn't it beautiful? My God, it's coming right for us!
Hey, it wasn't coming right for us. It was just sitting there.
Shh, not so loud. Now there's just a technicality.
What do you mean?
You see, boys, the Democrats have passed a lot of laws trying to stop us from hunting.
Democrats piss me off.
They say we can't shoot certain animals anymore unless they're posing an immediate threat. Therefore, before we shoot something, we have to say, it's coming right for us.
Wow, you're smart, Uncle Jimbo.
Uncle Jimbo is everybody's spirit animal. Now the problem always comes during that time with the investigation. This young man, Captain Joshua Watson, he was involved in another investigation, but this is just a feel-good story. So during a deadly Osprey crash, a Marine's heroism helped save a crew from the fiery wreckage. Captain Josh Watson was flying on August 27th, 2023 when they had a mid-air collision. His aircraft, call sign Dump Truck 12, that's a fantastic call sign for an aircraft. Dump Truck is always fun to talk to on the radio. He said, I didn't have any thought or indication that something was going wrong until I heard brace for impact. Watson said in an interview with military.com, he knew that they were going to crash, but the aircrew didn't give up. They flew the aircraft all the way to the ground, and I truly owe them my life, and I wouldn't be here. And you can say that for the 19 others, but that wasn't enough. Captain Watson didn't just go down with his ship. He actually made sure that every single one of his Marines was alive and outside of the aircraft, leave everything and get out the back, he recalled saying in a first-person account of the crash published last month. I tried to be as deliberate as I could in that moment to make sure there was no one remaining on board. I had a feeling that I was going to have one shot to make sure everybody got out due to the nature and the fire of the crash. He was recently recognized in a ceremony. Watson has come full circle now, saying being stationed at Naval Air Station Pensacola, Florida, where he's a flight student and slated to fly rotary wing aircraft. In his interview and written reflections, Watson asserted that training and preparation were critical to he and his Marines' success in this chaotic scenario. Ben, this is just a feel-good story from one of your boys. Say something nice about the young man, Captain Watson.
Amazing, right? I didn't gather like how much damage was done and how many people were wounded, but I mean, I will tell you, Osprey. I don't know how many people have been in those. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. Like these things take off.
What are you doing right now? Coldest take you've ever made.
Is he being is Ben being sarcastic?
Is he trolling me? He's doing a really good job.
You are fucking high. If you're Ben is Ben fucking high today? There's no way you're serious.
Hey, have you ever fast rode?
They are.
I have. Bro, that's what I was just gonna say, Aaron.
Nate,
the most fucked up thing ever.
Hang on, wait a minute.
The rope goes like this. It just goes like this.
Hey,
Not this.
Ben, we want you to turn your camera around to see how many naked women are in your room right now. Because something's going on, bro. Something's going on.
Ben's like, I gotta go.
I'm missing all this.
No one in the history of talking about aircraft has ever led with Ospreys are an amazing aircraft.
Dude, they are. Though. They are.
Listen,
how they can do is amazing. A vertical takeoff and then how it transitions and goes.
A vertical takeoff into flipping on top of itself and exploding on the ground.
That's the next part. That's not. Let me tell you what, jumping out of them is even better too. But
jumping out of them is very fun. That's the only
except
thing,
when you hit your head in the back.
You have to be on an Osprey.
Right, but no, 100%. I mean, they're amazing. They're amazing how fast they are, all that stuff like that. You know, they cover a lot of ground, blah blah blah. Vertical. So for everybody in the audience, vertical takeoff, right? They take off vertical like a helicopter, and then the rotary wing, the wings rotate, and then they go like an airplane. So
you can't call them rotary wing. They're
the V-Star, right?
Rotated wing aircraft.
Right, exactly. I've lost all my acronyms, but they're amazing for everybody in the audience. You know, I mean, really an amazing piece of engineering, but they've had so many crashes. I remember coming up the Marine Corps, they'd be like, "Yeah, we're testing the Osprey. We need a squad of Marines to go and fly around." Like literally, people were terrified. They do it by lottery. They're like, "Okay, you know, Bravo Company."
It's like the draft.
First platoon, you're going in there today, and people were dying. You know, like dying, crashing all the time.
Let me.
And they kept this thing going. Here's the thing: they kept this program going. Because the constituents for all the politicians for so long. I remember talking to a senior officer. I'm like, why do we keep this going? So many people are dying from this program. When I was, a younger Marine, and this senior officer said, "Look, I'm not going to level with you. There are so many different, politicians' constituents that this affects. It's assembled here. It's gone here. It's done there. It's re-put together. The engines here. The ball bearings are here. All these places. That's why they keep it going. People are making a ton of money, and people are getting voted into office because I'm like, but." We've lost hundreds of Marines testing this thing. Like, when are we just gonna say it's a friggin' enough and stick with the helicopters? Like,
I'm gonna ask Nate and Aaron a question. And Nate and Aaron, coming from the SEAL teams, if they had asked me to get on that shit when I was in, and they said, "Hey, we need a platoon of SEALs to go on this to fly around," I would have showed up with fucking sandbags stuffed in uniforms, weighing the exact same as some soldiers, and I would have strapped them in, and I said, "All present and accounted for."
I was just going to say, as Ben was telling that story, Jake, in my head, I'm like, this is such a Marine thing where they're like, hey, we need to get a bunch of random Marines to get on this thing that's probably going to crash for no reason. Yeah. Like, no, we need to pack this full of ground infantrymen just in case, just to see if it crashes or not. Like, what? Why? Why put all the infantrymen on there?
I had one of my friends that have been so many like crashes. I remember we were on a mission together in Iraq, and his Blackhawk, we're on the mission. He freaking crashed again. It's not even an Osprey story, but just like some people have the worst luck. I knew a dude who's crashed in Osprey. That's like literally, they're like, third sticks down. I'm like, listen, what the fuck? We're getting out and we're going. Like, we're gonna form a cordon around them. We're sending the QRF. I'm like, what? Like, we're beyond the point of no return. We're going. But this bird was down, like rolled over, and I hear my friend on the radio later. It's like fucking fuck, you know. But anyway, so some people got that bad luck. I knew dudes who were in Osprey crashes, and then later in helicopter crashes, and
I will tell you,
I feel
There's
like that's a real thing, Ben. It's like everyone I know who's been in a helicopter crash has been in like 4,
multiple,
and like nobody else has. It's like those guys are just like 100%. A magnet for it.
I talked about this before. We had a guy at my SEAL team been in 5 helicopter crashes.
Oh, you're saying
no one would ride on a helicopter with him ever.
No,
he rode by himself on all helicopter. He rode by himself.
I did the testing for the Osprey. I've done water work under it. I've tried to work and package patients underneath it. I've jumped out of it. I've got a pretty good experience with it. Fast roping is absolutely terrifying.
The worst. I've got a picture, Aaron, on my Instagram of us doing it, and you can see. I'm sure you know. There's.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to tell them why it's so fucked up to fast rope out of it?
So the ramp at the end, right? The ramp at the end of the
Osprey, not just that, it's how you have to try to get the rope too.
It doesn't the rope, like if you're looking in space, like this is where the ramp ends, this is where the rope connects.
Oh, that's terrible.
You have to reach out. That's where the hoist
and
is.
then you have to
reach out.
You reach way out, and then you throw your feet up horizontally over this thing, and it's the rope's like this. Right, it's not like this because the rotor
they actually made a special rope for it because they had so many problems with Marines trying to fast rope. Until you get 2 or 3 guys on it, it doesn't go straight down.
And if you get a 150-pound guy on there, he's just flat like this.
They actually made a.
No, I've jumped out of them, I haven't fast roped out of them. But I have seen that exact what you're saying. Like you just like, you're not going anywhere.
Well, and Ben, for example, because this real quick, Jake, this happened to me. So you reach way out, like you're like fucking looking down at the cement as you like put your hands to get it. And I'm tall. And then you have to like jump out, throw your feet up over it, right? So I do that. I jump out and I don't hook my feet over it, and then you're just fucking George of the Jungle and down the fucking rope the whole way because you can't. It's not like a fast rope where you can get your feet around it if you fuck up. No, like it's gone at that point, and now you're just like rope sliding with your gloves, man. It's the most unsafe shit fucking ever. What are we doing? Why is anybody who came up with that idea?
We
Aaron,
give people a chance to shoot at us as we're landing.
Who decided that was a good idea? Let's fast rope out of this fucking Osprey, like Marines. I'm sure it had to be Marines.
100%.
I'm going back to Vietnam. Okay, I'm going back to Nam. Okay, so and Nate and Aaron, have you guys fast roped out of a 46?
Yeah.
Yes.
10,000 times. Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you something.
A lot. Yeah.
We're in fast rope training, right? And I said, "Hey man, my arms don't reach the rope." And fucking training looked at me and said, "Hey motherfucker, you're short. You better fucking commit."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit." So like. You love the 53 because it had the hole, but you did not love You did not love the 46 because I'm gonna tell you, I had at least probably 10 inches of commit that I had to get to the rope. And
let's talk about all these fun helicopter insertion methods aside from jumping, all the stupid things we can do. Let's talk about helicasting. One of my favorites is when
my god, that's the worst, dude.
Like, we're ready, we're going. Jake tells a great story of people actually getting killed. This one's close to that. But I'm like, we're real high, we're real fast, like fucking go. And we go, you find out, I mean, you just get destroyed and you hit the water, and you find out later you weren't 10 and 10, you're like 30 and 30. And you just get, it means like, 30 knots and 30 feet above. You just get obliterated when you land, But I know Jake tells one of where they actually
100 and 100. 100 and 100.
Dead.
Yeah, you're dead.
Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 2 people died. One person lived as a quadriplegic.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Well, guys, Ospreys are terrible. They lose a lot of service members, but not nearly as many as the Army. It's losing nearly 1/4 of soldiers in the first 2 years of their enlistment. The Army's grappling with a staggering attrition rate among newly enlisted troops. Even as recruiting figures suggest that service is clawing its way out of a years-long enlistment crisis. We've talked about it a bunch of times here. Nearly 1/4 of soldiers recruited since 22 have failed to complete their initial contracts, according to the Army's internal data reviewed by military.com. While the Army's recruiting totals look solid on paper, high dropout rates raises serious doubts about whether those numbers are accurate portrayal of how well the service is maintained. The military's recruiting challenges have largely centered around finding young Americans eligible to serve, a pool that the Pentagon has estimated at only 23% of 17 to 24-year-olds. One senior Army official with direct knowledge of the service's recruiting efforts said that only about 8% of people are eligible for a so-called clean enlistment, meaning the recruit didn't need any waivers or have to attend a prep course. Jake, you live in this world. Not only do we not have enough people that can go in, but now those people are failing too. Is this a larger sort of shot at the American youth writ large? Is the Army doing something wrong? What the hell's going on?
I'm going to tell you, there's two avenues I'm going to go down. One, I talked to Ben from veteran biker dude. He said that there is a lot of fraud going on now with the younger generation joining the Army and then getting their 100% VA and disappearing.
Oh, I did a whole video on this, Jake, on how they're doing it, because I retired 100%. Out of an SRU unit. I know exactly how they do it.
Yes, sir. And then the other aspect of it, 100%, the pussification of America.
Well, so Ben, how do we fix it?
I don't know, man. That's a whole nother.
Come on, Ben. Bring back fucking PE from fucking JFK, motherfucker. That's how we fix that shit.
Well, I mean, honestly, I think like, you know, I mean, how do we fix the recruitment, people leaving? I can only speak about the Marine Corps. I mean, like, you know, I think with the Marine Corps, they always say, like, you know, I mean, we have, I hate to say it, but conflict people join. I mean, I think that's what it is. They're the young men out there or young women that want to test themselves, especially young men want to go in the infantry, want to go in the combat arms. You know, they want to test themselves. The whole Marine Corps commercial of slaying the dragon and all these things they have out there. These are some real things for people, you know, their internal hero, that narrative of being a hero and having that fulfillment of, you know, of that growth into becoming that thing. So honestly, the more action we have, the more operations and missions, again, for the Marine Corps. Now, I got to think for part of the Army, it's going to be that way as well, too. But if they're just sitting around being yelled at about things that they think is bullshit and they don't understand it, whereas, you know, we all know the harder you train, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat. Not always true, right? Bad stuff happens. Not always true. But you can be a lot better. You know, you can be a lot better with a more disciplined unit. You understand why the stupid things. A lot of these rules are written in blood, and you won't really understand that until you're in proximity. Like, I'll never forget going through a CQB package before a combat deployment, right? And hearing what, you know, was early on, this is like in 2004, and hearing the instructors, you know, yelling at people saying, you don't understand it. Like, in a couple months here, you're doing this for real. And what you did, people are dying. You're either going to kill the wrong people or you're getting killed. Like right now, people are dying both ways because of, you know, your jacked up process inside the house and outside, and what you did, your approach, all these different things like that. So I think, you know, the urgency of learning the lessons and doing the stupid little things, you know, it's hard if they're not deploying, they're not doing things. They're like, oh, we're going to NTC. Okay, blah, I'm going to play at this. So I don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you fix it for the big Army, but I mean, I know the Marine Corps, as long as there are deployments and missions and operations, I think you're going to keep retention. And then, you know, hard training, realistic training, make it satisfying. So, I mean, part of what I do as, you know, as a coach as well, too, in my coaching is you got to find what the core human interests are, the core human needs, all these things like that. Part of it is the need for respect and significance, the need for growth, and the need to do hard things, to challenge yourself, to push through great fears you have. And so the harder training you put them through, the fear factors that you push them through, and they get beyond that, they're going to get a lot of those similar things, the growth and the becoming process, becoming that internal hero that you would get. Not the same as in combat, but if you can push their fear factors, you know, and maybe it's mountain training, maybe it's realistic combat training, you're in the NTC, you're pushing the boundaries, but in a safe way, but still, you know, pushing them, doing things they've never done before, making through physical barriers. I think that helps. But if you let them stagnate, you let that malaise set in, and you focus on soldier comfort or Marine comfort first, and I hate to say it, you think you're taking care of your people, you're actually not, and they're going to want to get out. You got to make it hard, make it realistic. Give them what they came for, right? More than just whatever, just as a paycheck. Make that becoming process. Get those core human needs, those core human interests, that satisfaction, that respect, the growth, to know they overcome fear, have more confidence, all those things like that. That matters a lot, especially in a relative peacetime right now.
Awesome. Yeah. So Nate, I'm going to turn this one over to you. As a great question from the chat from H2. What up, H2? The question was, what would a draft look like if the bulk of the American fighting males were not able to qualify for service?
I got a hot take on this, and this goes against what I used to think. All right. I think we're looking at this entirely the wrong way. I don't believe the bulk of society, and especially young men, are not able to join the military and wouldn't be qualified to. I think, and I say this because I'm doing my master's degree at a university right now, and I'm watching and seeing all of these 18 to 22-year-old men on a regular basis, right? And when I go to the gym on campus, it's fucking packed. There are hundreds to thousands of fucking dudes, not as in good a shape as me or as big as me because they're 18, but fucking in there getting it. Great shape, right? And so I look and I look at like my son's. Yeah, no, I mean it is what it is, right? But and then I look at my son's high school, right? And I see all these fucking young kids that are in great shape, getting after it, doing all these things. But guess what? None of them are doing. None of them are interested in the military. All of the high-performing young kids, they have no fucking interest in the military. So the way I see it is it's not that there's not the demographic of young man like doesn't exist anymore. I used to think that about Gen Z, right? Bunch of fucking pussy turds, right? It is what it is. That's an easy button. But then I watch them and I'm like, that's not really what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is if you talk to them about joining the military, why the fuck would I want to join the military? They look at the global war on terror of the last 20 years and they see that and they go, why the fuck would I join that? They see what happened with the withdrawal of Afghanistan. Why would I go serve a government that's corrupt? Why would I go join a military that's going to leave me to die? You hear this all the time from young men who are like, nah, I'll take my chances in college and the corporate world. So I don't think young men have changed that much. I think that we are a little bit playing sort of the, that gap of like, now that we're 40, we think the next generation's a bunch of pussies. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that we as a society have made the military not a respectable profession to join in a lot of ways to these young men. And that, I think, has to get fixed first, well before you worry about that. So getting to the draft question, do I think a draft would work? Yeah, because I'll tell you, there's a shit ton of dudes that don't want to join the military that definitely fucking could if you forced them to. Ukraine did it, right? Russia's doing it. But that doesn't mean they're going to be great soldiers. But that's kind of my thing is like, I think that until we fix the perception of what it means to join and be a part of the military. In 2001, after 9/11, think about that, right? Or World War II. I think my grandpa, who had diabetes, one of his biggest, not the grandpa that jumped into Normandy, other side, his biggest regret his whole life was that he didn't get to serve and go to war in World War II. That's very different perception. Same for us. Like so many guys joined after 9/11, right? It was a huge deal. It was an honor to go serve, to go fight, all these things. 2025? That ain't no fucking 18-year-old male thinking that right now. None of them are going, oh man, I wish I could serve to go XYZ, World War II, post 9/11. So how do we change that perception? To me, that's got to happen first before we worry too much about like what percentage of men can actually meet the standards and that type of thing. Because guess what? Professional athletes aren't getting less fucking talented, right? So
right. Well, and a great comment from the chat, H2 said, why would I want to join the military when I could work in the civilian world and they pay me loads? I don't know why you'd want to get paid in loads, but I would say that the answer to that is because you want to go serve your country and you want to protect the ways and values of the United States of America, and you're willing to take a pay cut comparatively with your peers and your peer groups that are doing something not like that. But that's just one man's opinion. Jake, what do you got on this one to button it up?
It's the best fucking job in the world.
Fucking hoo-yah, dog. Hoo-yah.
Yeah, I agree.
What?
Hey, I'll tell you,
the best job in the world.
Tell you dovetail off that too. What Jake's saying, and Jake, you right back to you. You never forget one time meeting with this dude's MacV guy, and this is right up your alley, Nate. You grew up with this, but just a badass like biker gang type of guy. And this is while I was at the Naval Academy, and he's like, you want to be bad? He goes, go join Special Forces or Special Operations. He's like, you want to have fun? Just go play football, go play sports. Yeah. What do you want to be? You want to be bad or you want to have fun? He's like, you want to make money? You want to be a badass? What do you want to be? And like this dude's a stone cold killer. You could tell he had all the back V SOG stuff. And I was like, shit, man, this is like, he's saying, like, what do you want? You want to be flashy and have fun and all this stuff, or you want to see what you're really made of? You go mano a mano out in the street, man. You want to
Yeah,
see
but
it.
I mean, like, but is being bad cool, right? I look at the 80s and 90s. Look at the fucking action stars. Arnold, Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Willis. Go boom, 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 boom. Look at 2025 action heroes. Like, you got all these femboy fucking Hollywood pussies they have to CGI muscles onto, right? And that's kind of the cool thing. The Avengers. Like, look at Bruce Banner, the dude, the Mark Ruffalo, like the most softest fucking leftist fucking dude in the world. He's Hulk. So that's my point. It's like a societal perception of what's cool. What is it cool to be bad? We all thought so. That's why we fucking did it, right? But does this generation think so? Yeah, and it's awesome. But how do you
all these
how do you
anti-war
show
folks
that
have never been to war? Because I'll tell you what, it's a pretty good time when you don't die. To be honest with you.
But how do you show that to an entire young generation of male who didn't grow up with that sort of post 9/11 sort of patriotism, watching their buddies doing it, right? Like it's just different now. We have to. I don't know. I don't have the answers, guys, but I think like that has to get changed first.
I got a good one. Hey, China, I'm sending an invitation to China to come over here and invade the left coast. I know, Nate, you're gonna be on the run quick, but
I'll be in Texas by then, homie. Yeah,
hey,
we're
come on,
we're
bro.
out
We
of
got
here
a spot
soon.
for you, man. We got a spot for
Dude,
you.
the Air Force and Navy will ruin it for everybody because they'll sink them with the submarines. They'll use all the badass airplanes and they'll kill everything. There won't be anything left for any of us to do. Any of the Marines or ground people. So, we got to, invite them over. But Aaron, tell your people not to play. Nate, no big strategic shipping.
Yeah, let them in.
Let them in. That's right. Let them in. We'll go straight to Valhalla.
Don't say
the final line of defense. We'll go.
Get them to
right along the
California.
Idaho border. We're gonna cut it off and set up shop.
Yeah. It's basically Vegas all the way north. If you just draw that line just on the east side.
That's right. That's right. The FPF will have the final protective fires all set up. Be good to go.
Hit them with that red dawn.
We were just talking about having the worst job in the world, and we were also talking about people without positive male role models. Well, that Gavin Newsom fits into
here we go.
Both of that. So Gavin Newsom made some headlines. He had Charlie Kirk on because Gavin Newsom is trying to convince people
he's a conservative now.
He's not a soulless lizard person. So Gavin Newsom got on with Charlie Kirk, and it's caused a real dust-up in a Democratic Party that's already imploding upon itself like Tower 7. Here is Charlie Kirk and Gavin Newsom talking about trans in sports.
And be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no
so
men in
bad.
female
Look how his legs are
I think it's an issue of fairness.
Charlie Kirk, what are you doing
on that? So that's easy to call out the unfairness of that. There's also a humility and a grace, that these poor people are more likely to commit suicide, have anxiety and depression. And
good.
Down to vulnerable communities is an issue that I have a hard time with as well. So
I can't stand
Hey,
this
so
guy.
here's my
This
prediction.
guy's an absolute piece of crap. Go ahead, Ben.
Here's my prediction. Ex-wife Kimberly Guilfoyle, right? Kimberly Guilfoyle was just going out with Don Trump Jr. for a long time. They broke up. I think maybe something's happening. Maybe they're going to get back together. Power couple dream team. He's making a run on the Republican ticket. She was a powerhouse speaker, the Republican convention, all these things like that. Possibly.
But you think Trump's son's gonna run?
No, I think
Gavin.
Trump's son.
Oh, Gavin Newsom.
Newsom's
Absolutely
Gavin 100% is gonna run.
100%.
I think.
I'm saying if the Republicans had some balls, they would throw Trump Jr. in there because
Trump Jr. just floated that today. Trump Jr. came out today and said he is considering a look at 2028.
How old is he though?
He's old enough. He's over
35. He's in his late 40s,
JD,
probably mid to late 40s.
You can't compete with JD. You can't compete with him.
Here's what I want to say, because I know what are you doing? All right. I know, like, we like to be like, oh, lizard person Gavin, he's a fucking piece of shit. He's a fucking good politician. So let me tell you this. Gavin Newsom is ahead of his party right now. Gavin Newsom is seeing what 2028 looks like. He sees how much America likes what's going on right now. And he understands I have to move my party back to the center. So what Gavin Newsom is trying to do is move back to the center, back to common sense, back to, now I don't think he fucking believes any of it. I think he believes whatever is going to potentially get him elected. What he's doing is, I'm going to move to center where I can pull from the center right or center that doesn't like Trump, but also looks at the fucking left and goes, this is insane. Right. And he becomes a centrist and a moderate, which he's not, but he's ahead of his party. And that's why his party's so pissed off, because they're in insanity fucking yo-yo land over here. But he's not, what he's doing is not dumb. I don't think. I think the problem is for him within 4 years is the center. Is that going to get him elected in the primaries as a Democrat? It's a fucking strong position. Gavin Newsom is a moderate, 4 years of moderate common sense Gavin Newsom. That's fucking scary to me in 2028, right?
LA
People will forget. People will forget. Yeah, but they'll forget. They'll forget. I promise you, people don't remember that
California,
long.
Ben?
What's that?
You say he's losing California?
Until he starts enacting a bunch of fucking conservative fucking economic policies, and he starts to rebuild California over the next 4 years, and all of a sudden he's moderate Gavin Newsom. It's fucking scary, man. You guys, I don't like underestimating your opponent, right? And I think that's what the right's doing, is they're looking at him and going, oh, look how stupid he is. He's not fucking dumb. He's got Charlie Kirk on his show, and he's agreeing that men and women's sports is fucking bad. You should be concerned about Gavin Newsom doing that. Do not just think that he's some fucking dipshit snake oil salesman. He's very, very strategic, right?
So he is a dipshit snake oil salesman. Do you think that the radical left comes back towards Gavin Newsom, or do you think that they're beholden to what they're doing right now?
I don't know what 4 years from now looks like. I think at this point, no, fuck no. They're so fucking far left. But at some point, does the left throw another election 4 years ago because they're still in insanity mode, or do they figure it out before then? The left will come back to center to try to win an election eventually. They will Joe Biden it again eventually. Is that 4 years, or do you have to lose another election
and forget that they're the president? That didn't work out well last time.
Well, you know what I mean? Like the left's position has been shown. The country doesn't want it. Okay. I know they're still pissed with their stupid fucking signs and right? But at some point you have to, as a political, because politics, right? Politics are politics. You have to do what is going to get you elected and what's going to win elections. And that's going to be moving back to the center. I think that's how it kind of works for everybody. Maybe not the right now, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the left figures it out and comes back to center? I mean, eventually I think they have to, or I don't see them ever winning another election again. Personally,
I think they have to, but right now, and this is just judging off of where they are right at this second, I don't think they figured it out. They've doubled down on all these 80-20 issues. No. They continue to put for Gavin Newsom. Everybody in California knows Gavin Newsom for exactly who he is, which he looks slick. He talks well on camera. He has bad answers to good questions, and he never really pins himself down to something. So from a politics standpoint, I think that he is a good politician. I think the problem is the context has changed. COVID and then this last election, to a large part, have woken up wide swaths of America, and they can source out bullshit and misinformation faster now than ever before. And Gavin Newsom doesn't have a whole lot after that. His record is terrible. The things that he's put out publicly up until now, like, he's going to have to square that circle, and someone's going to have to be like, why did your positions change so drastically?
Aaron, I agree until 4 years. And this is a hypothetical, right?
Sure.
4 years from now, the stock market continues to do this. The economy does not get better. The Epstein files do not get released. All the promises do not get kept. 4 years from now, all of these things, when people are fucking furious 4 years from now, again, hypothetical, all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom's bullshit from 2020, the regular American fucking person, because they're not all critical thinkers like we are, all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom looks pretty fucking good again, right? That's my worry. Now, I hope not. I hope fucking America
when does for re-election?
Does this
run again for governor?
Can they run forever in California as governor? I feel like they can. I don't think there's any term limits
Nancy Pelosi has been there since 1919.
Let me say this,
or earlier.
Let me say this. The thing that's scary about Gavin Newsom is the fact that Kamala Long got to run for president. Okay, that's the thing that's scary. If they manage to get her in that position, Gavin Newsom's 20 times better than Kamala. Okay, 20 times. So if they manage to squeeze her into an election, and let's not forget, Trump did some damage in the election, but she also got some votes now.
Yeah.
And if you think about, like, we couldn't have put, like, the Democrats could not have put a bigger, oh man, I almost
turd.
used the M word. I was going to say the M word. I was going to say the
turd.
No,
That's what she is.
A clown.
He said
a clown.
He said the M word. I was searching my slurs in my head. I was like, what
Yeah, I didn't
word are we
know.
talking about?
He's got something special there. I didn't know. I don't know.
He got it lined up. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're going to jail. Thanks. And this is it for me. Okay.
Yep.
See you later, everybody.
Hey, listen, man. I just called a spade, man.
Jake, you're
Christ.
not black. You can't say shit like that.
Yeah, you're
Fair
Jewish. You gotta
enough.
watch
Fair
it.
enough. I denounced the black race. I claim I'm now a white, prosperous, rich American. So
And that actually provides us a great segue into the last one that we're going to talk about. We're going to end on a little bit of a lighter note. But as always, you guys know it's the white people that are just always doing dumb shit. Well, today, Bernice the duck apprehended after going into a Georgia jail. So we got some calls to a Georgia jail about 7:43 a.m. that said, and I quote, "A white female was discovered inside the perimeter of the fence at Polk County Jail. The suspect was a duck. It attempted to go over the perimeter fence in an attempt to escape capture. She couldn't tell us where she came from or how she got there, but we did notice that she had an injured foot. Thank God this isn't the ATF, because that duck would have been shot on sight, just like a dog. Why do you think,
or a squirrel?
Why do you think that these white ducks have such an affinity to going into the jail system? We'll start off with you, Jake Zweig.
Okay, so I got to tell y'all this story, man. Okay, so
how do you have a story about this?
Hey, bro. Listen.
Of course he does.
Hang on.
Of course he does.
No, wait a minute. Let me say this.
Duck, right?
Hang on. Wait a minute.
Javelin on a duck once.
Wait a minute. This is a good one. So I'm at my other house, the house I just had to run to for the water leaks just now. And I got a neighbor who is A1, 4K cameras, the whole backyard, my backyard, everything, okay, under surveillance. He calls me over. He said, hey, man, you know that white cat in the neighborhood? I said, you talking about the one that's always in the backyard, drinking out the pool, all the crazy shit? He said, yeah, man, I got something funny to tell you. He said, you know that pack of raccoons? I said, yeah. He said, they've been fucking that cat every night, man. I got it on video, bro. So I just want to let everybody know, like the white cats, they love the BBC, bro. That's all it is, man. Like,
that's the story that came to mind after talking about a duck that went into a jail.
It's the same thing. The duck likes that big man dingo prisoner stuff, man. Like,
wow.
I'm just telling you.
That's not where I thought that was going, but okay.
Maybe this is like a trained cartel duck, and he's got like keys and a stash on him and his feathers. He's sneaking in there and giving something. So this is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this: they had trained pigeons,
pigeon, right? Pigeons trained.
Yeah, they trained pigeons to bring dope in.
Mm-hmm. Right, like that's that's an old school. Right? They're clapping for him. Pigeons are coming down. Yeah. See, we already solved this case, Jake.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna go around the horn. Nate, tell us everywhere where you can find us that isn't 6 p.m. on the Pacific, 3 p.m. East. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time every Friday on the War Room. Where can everybody find you?
Find me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Valhalla VFT. I mean, imagine you got to know who I am by now on the show. Got a live right after this.
You'd have
Come
a
on
pitch
over
for yourself when someone turns it over to promote your channel, but you didn't have it either. So that's
Aaron, actually, here's how bad I am at this, right? I'm talking to a new brand partnership, and they're like, send me send us your media something. What is it called? A media brand package. They're like, send us that before the meeting, and I'm like, I don't respond to the email. I'm like Googling. I'm like, what the fuck is a media package?
This is big time. I'm big time. I'd be like, just freaking watch the show. Hang up.
That's what I was like. I almost wrote back. I was like, if you don't know who I am, why the fuck are you even contacting me? What do you mean? What do you mean a media package? But yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm
Ben,
just a
please.
guy who just primates my way through this thing, man. You
I
guys,
literally
do
did
better.
that for a speaking engagement. Someone's like, all right, can you send us a reel? I go, look, I'm live every Friday at the War Room. See me there. See me and my stuff. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Check it out. I was the same thing. I was like, I don't want to really keep like a speaking reel. Like, look, and there he is again. There he is again. You know what I mean? Like, man, you like me or you don't, you know? But no, for me, everybody, you find me on Instagram, a big place for me, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not as sophisticated as these three gentlemen with their mega banger YouTube channels. Check them out as well. But I'm going to be developing my own YouTube thing here pretty soon. I've got a small channel right now, but I promise I'll make it better where I'm actually doing some talking. But exciting thing for me right now going on is I've got this coaching membership I'm super excited about. For a long time, I only did one-on-one coaching with founders, executives, C-suite executives, founders, owners of companies. Worked in corporations, did inspirational speaking, all that stuff. But now I've got this coaching membership that's really accessible for everybody. So if you like what I'm doing, you like what you see over on Instagram, you've seen my stuff on LinkedIn, I got a lot of stuff there too as well. Please check out this coaching membership. If you join for a limited time only, if you join, you also get a free bonus to my coaching community. That's filled with really people trying to level up this year, founders, owners of companies, leaders in their field. Very, very cool community, cool fun, very accessible. It's $47.99 per month. You'll get a live coaching session with me every month and with the community. And I stay afterwards to do Q&A for as long as you want to do it. So a lot of personal coaching done as we're there as well too. And that's all in my link tree, in my Instagram, and my bio. So link in bio, check it out. Thank you.
And Jake, where can we find you? What are you excited about working on?
Man, we just made an F-35 pilot on Friday, along with an F-18 pilot in the Navy. Let me tell y'all something. If you ain't in that school's classroom where we're getting world-class mentorship, you're wrong. We also at 7 p.m. Central, we've got Leadership Lab for all you young people that are starting off in leadership roles, and even some of you old people, you don't know what's going on. Hey, man, listen, on Fridays at 7 p.m., all we're doing is talking leadership for as long as it takes. I'm the same as Ben. Ben got fire. I got fire, right? We over here helping the next generation of leaders not make stupid mistakes, not try to win the battle by themselves, because leadership is about bringing everybody with you. Obviously, you could catch me on YouTube. It's
also,
crazy.
Jake, I forgot. We got our show too.
Yep,
Sundays, noon. Me and Jake.
I wish you would have said something, Nate. You son of a bitch. Your turn's over.
Hey, we got.
I got Jake still. He's the co-host, so we can get the pitch in still.
Sunday at 2 p.m. Central, noon on the West Coast. You got Nate and Jake, Green Beret versus Navy SEAL.
We had almost like 1,500 people in the live last week, guys.
Yeah.
People like anything, or like, is there any competitions? Like Mr. Beast style?
No. So he's coming down. I'm fucking tuning my gun up right now because he's gonna be down here, and I got to make sure that I can smoke him because he's
I'm coming down in April.
Yeah, he's coming.
We're gonna do some good shit.
And then Aaron, I want to fly like a drone with you and just like put crosshairs on both of them while they're shooting their pistols.
That'd be great.
Like crush your head, crush.
And just like any good PJ, I'll be right by the commander's side, not really doing anything, but clowning.
There you go, brother.
Doing the shooting.
Love that.
Man, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Aaron_loves_America or at Aaron Loves America over on Twitter. Make sure to check out my other podcast, the One's Ready podcast. If you're trying to be an Air Force special operator, we got you. And then make sure you're tuning in every single Tuesday live here and soon to be even maybe on Rumble. We're talking about that right now. But for the political sit rep, we're going to talk politics, culture, bringing on guests. We've had great guests on in the past, and we'll go live every Tuesday. That's at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, for everything that you're missing in this crazy 24-hour news cycle. So that's another offering from us here at the War Room. We just want to say thanks. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't exist at all. So keep sending us those DMs. Keep sharing the show to everybody you know. Get their eyeballs on this bad boy. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, go crush that right now. Turn those notifications on. Make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss anything that we do. Because between the 5 of us on this program, we are going to bring you everything you need from succeeding in life or special operations, just being a general badass, or saying wild, unhinged slurs in public like Jake Zweig. So for everybody, we love y'all. Thank you very much. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Y'all are the best. We will see you next time when we're done here at the War Room.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, man, I'm telling y'all, this crew right here fixing to change some shit. I'm just telling you right now.
Are we still live?
Right at the end of Jake saying that shit because I wanted to catch